Get ready for another action-packed doubleheader in Hungary, where the spotlight shifts to the latest upgrades. The British Grand Prix was thrilling, with Lewis Hamilton claiming victory at his home race for the 9th time, proving his W15 excels on low-grip tracks. McLaren missed some chances again, even though they had the strongest package overall. Red Bull is steadily making their way to the front, while Ferrari is eagerly awaiting their new upgrades. With many teams set to bring their latest improvements, we'll cover all the details from heavyweights like Mercedes and Red Bull to teams like Aston Martin and Haas. Let's kick things off with Aston Martin. The team from Silverstone has some significant upgrades planned for Hungary, which sources say are almost like a B-spec overhaul. At the beginning of the season, the AMR24 was a solid car. The only real issues were its lack of downforce and how quickly its tyres wore out. But after the team started adding upgrades in Japan and then at Imola, the Aston Martin car began to struggle. The high tyre wear still remained and the upgrades made the car more unstable. They did add downforce as expected, but also made the car's setup very finicky, causing it to perform unpredictably. By the time the team got to Canada, they started experimenting by mixing new upgrades with older parts to figure out what was going wrong and how to improve the car. During the British Grand Prix, they went back to using the Suzuka floor and paired it with a new front wing. This combination worked well, making the AMR24 more balanced and competitive, especially in the fast corners of Silverstone. This was a good sign of progress. To keep moving forward, the team plans to introduce new bodywork, including side pods and an engine cover, along with a new underfloor design at the upcoming Hungarian GP. This new upgrade is crucial for Aston Martin. If it works well, it will confirm the best way for the team to develop the car and might even give them an edge over the other midfield teams. Now let's turn our attention to Red Bull's upgrades. Silverstone proved to be a mixed bag for Red Bull. Max Verstappen secured second place due to a well-calculated drive and flawless pit wall decisions. On the other hand, Sergio Perez struggled, getting knocked out in Q1 and failing to score any points, partly due to some puzzling strategy choices. Red Bull introduced some upgrades focused on the car's underfloor at Silverstone, tweaking the floor's body and edges. These enhancements aim to boost the RB20's downforce, but were only applied to Max's car. Despite these changes, Max's weekend didn't showcase any noticeable performance boost. In fact, McLaren and Mercedes looked faster than the RB20 in terms of outright speed. This development has ignited a fierce three-way competition among McLaren, Red Bull and Mercedes, highlighting that Red Bull's pace advantage has shrunk and their car development is hitting a plateau. To regain their edge, Red Bull plans to bring additional parts to the next race, as confirmed by Pierre Vacher. The team is set to introduce small upgrades related to the underfloor, continuing the work they started at Silverstone. These tweaks are intended to refine their previous changes and get back in the game. Also, trustworthy sources have mentioned that Red Bull is working on a new front wing, which might make its first appearance at the Hungary race. This fresh design takes inspiration from the front wings used by Mercedes and McLaren. The new wing, along with the tweaks made to the car's floor at Silverstone, is supposed to improve the airflow towards the back of the car, increasing downforce while keeping aerodynamic efficiency. When it comes to the team's chances in Hungary, the track is often called Monaco without walls, so Red Bull might face some challenges here, especially with the car being a bit unsettled by the curbs. However, the RB20 is still expected to be competitive. Success largely depends on how well the team fine-tunes their car and how rivals like Ferrari and McLaren fine-tune theirs. Now, let's shift our attention to Mercedes' updates. The British Grand Prix was another fantastic weekend for them. Russell snagged another pole position while Hamilton delivered an incredible performance to win the race, making it 2 consecutive victories for Mercedes. Unfortunately, Russell had to drop out of the race because the team needed to preserve the power unit after discovering a water leak in its cooling system. Russell almost made it to the podium, showing that the W15 is now competing closely with Red Bull and McLaren. To keep this momentum going, the Brackley team has planned 2 big upgrade packages. The first one, as confirmed by Toto Wolff, is set to debut at the Hungarian GP. This event has been a targeted date for upgrades coming just before the summer break. The W15 among the top 4 cars is still new in terms of aerodynamics based on a fresh design, meaning there's a lot of room for development. Trustworthy sources say the team plans to update the car's underfloor, add a new diffuser, and make changes to the side pods, upgrades that have been anticipated for quite some time. Hamilton has mentioned that these upgrades in Hungary will significantly boost their competitiveness against McLaren and Red Bull in various conditions. Now, let's talk about Ferrari's upgrades. Since the Canadian GP, Ferrari has had some unpredictable races. The British GP showed mixed results for them. Carlos secured a 5th place finish, while Leclerc faced yet another challenging weekend, struggling with both qualifying and race strategy. During the free practice sessions, the team was testing different setups. Leclerc used the Barcelona spec and Sainz used the Imola spec of the SF24. The results were strikingly clear. The Barcelona modifications boosted downforce and improved handling through corners, as seen in Leclerc's performance in low-speed sections, but led to aerodynamic bouncing at high speeds. After analysing the data from these Silverstone tests, Vasseur confirmed they had identified the cause of this high-speed bouncing issue. They have planned updates for upcoming races in Hungary and Spa to address it. Sainz echoed this sentiment after the race. The anticipated upgrades include minor changes to the car's floor fences, floor edges, rear suspension, and possibly a new front wing. The suspension tweak will be critical for Ferrari to fix the high-speed bouncing. The front wing update, inspired by designs from Mercedes and McLaren, could be a game changer. Looking ahead to the Hungarian Grand Prix, the SF24 has shown that it excels on tracks with lots of slow corners needing high downforce. Hungary suits Ferrari perfectly, so we can expect them to shine here. Now let's turn our attention to McLaren's updates. The team from Woking isn't bringing any major innovations to Hungary, just some minor parts tailored for high downforce on this specific track. Their main focus, however, is on improving their race strategy. If Lando Norris and the team had chosen the right tyres during the final phase of the British GP, he might have clinched victory. It was yet another missed chance. McLaren really needs to buckle down, evaluate their strategy, and make improvements if they want to contend seriously for the championship. Lastly, let's look at what Haas is doing to upgrade their performance. Haas had an amazing time at Silverstone this weekend. Nico Hülkenberg handled the tricky weather brilliantly and finished in 6th place once again. The team brought in some big updates to their car, focusing on the radiator inlets, floor, diffuser, and engine cover. The biggest change was to the radiator inlets. They moved from an undercut to an overcut design, similar to the McLaren MCL38. Thanks to these updates, the Haas car performed really well in both slow and fast corners, sometimes even matching the Ferrari's times in high-speed sections like Copse, Maggots and Beckett's. Hülkenberg was the only one using the updated car, while Magnussen used the old version for the entire weekend. But don't worry, the team plans to have the new parts on Magnussen's car for the Budapest race. They also noted that the VF24 model struggles a bit in medium-speed corners, but upgrades to fix that are on the way after the summer break. With all these upgrades in place, are you excited for the Hungarian Grand Prix? Thank you for watching. If you liked the video, subscribe to the channel and leave a comment below. See you in the next video.